Tanner, what's kind of been the spring, summer kind of offseason been like for you? Obviously, missing the bowl game and stuff, and it sounds like everybody says you really kind of made sure you were determined, I guess, to kind of get back out there this year.
Yeah, definitely a learning experience. Grew up a lot over the past, half a year or so, more than that. And this offseason, it's been a grind. It's probably been the toughest offseason I've ever been through here. And, everyone's just working real hard to, come out and meet our expectations of, what's right up above us, win the conference championship and all that. But we know it took all the work that we did in the offseason, and we got to come together through this fall camp to reach all that.
You were a guy who, everyone was like, if they thought of a leader on the defense, they thought of you, and so probably surprising when people saw you were suspended for the bowl game.
Yeah.
How did that affect you, just going through that, and obviously, not being able to be there, and just all those things? How much did that affect you?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough missing the bowl game and seeing them play from couch at home. So, like I said, it was a learning experience. Definitely glad that. I'm kind of glad I went through it because it just, I grew up a lot from just going through some issues, and I put it behind me.
I mean, this could be a big senior year for you. I mean, Coach Arson, everybody's saying that you have kind of put it behind you and you're using it as a learning experience. Was it kind of motivating for you to try to make sure that you take advantage of the opportunity you have here as a senior?
Yeah, I mean, it's a privilege to be here, and you just can't take it for granted to be in such a great environment and play for such a prestigious program. And, I took this offseason more serious than I ever have, and hopefully it pays off for me this season.
Tanner, what do you see as your role this year in the defense, and what do you want to accomplish?
For me, I want to be a team player, ultimate team player, do whatever I can to help the team win. I stepped up as a leader more so verbally because I used to think I was more of like a, lead by example guy, but kind of got out of my comfort zone and figured out how to lead when people need to be led. And, my goal is really just to, go out with a bang, go out as best, make this team as best as we possibly can be.
What about the role on the field, though? I mean, the position now looks like it's called linebacker. Do you think it'll be different, same from 2 years ago, last year?
With Coach Avalos as the D coordinator, I'm sure we're going to have some different wrinkles and all that. But for the most part, they put the same position, just named it Sam, probably, to make myself feel a little better that I'm not considered a DB or whatever to mess with you guys. But, I like playing out in space. I like playing inside, so I feel like I could play multiple positions on this defense.
Coach Avalos actually said that he knew we'd make a big deal about it when we changed the names.
Yeah.
Do you feel more comfortable? You sit out there in space. I know you played in the middle quite a bit. I mean, and that was a role that you fit pretty well. But now it seems like Joe's kind of settled in there. And
yeah.
So does it work better for you to be out on the edge more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the first time I ever played outside linebacker was 2 years ago. So I think it just comes kind of natural to me to play out in space and how to defeat the blocks out in space. But at the same time, I feel comfortable if they need me to come back in the box and play inside, playing that my whole life. But it's definitely fun and different to be able to match up against some wide receivers and see how you are matching up against, Thomas every day in practice. Definitely, I know I'm going to lose some reps, but when I get to the game, there's not many people that are so, you don't really realize how fast he's running. He doesn't look like he's running fast, but he's real shifty. And so when you get to the game, you don't see a lot of people like as good as the receivers that we have.
Is there anything you've done to maybe prepare for this, or change your physique or anything like this, knowing you might have to cover a few more guys this year?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say change my physique or anything, because it's still a linebacker spot. I've got to be able to take on linemen and tight ends and all that in the run game. Pretty much weighing the same still, but work on your speed. Get with like Chance James, some DBs, and work some coverage techniques, footwork. I was doing some one-on-ones during the player run practices against the wide receivers, so that helped. Yeah.
How good do you think you are kind of in that role, and do you take pride in being able to do different things? I mean, Coach Avalos was saying there was times last year they thought about putting you in safety. I mean,
yeah.
How do you kind of like the moving around, and do you take kind of pride in being able to do more than one thing?
Yeah, I like it a lot. It definitely makes the game a lot more fun, being able to, put certain packages in where I might be inside, I might be outside, I might be wherever. So I take a lot of pride being able to play wherever they need me to play.
You say you've been matching up with some receivers. Who's the toughest type of receiver for you to guard here in Spurbeck? The toughest one you have to match up with?
Yeah, I mean, usually I'm matching up against Spurbeck because he's usually in the slot, and he's real tough. He's just real shifty, and you don't really realize how fast he really is because he's a little decisive with it. And, yeah, he's probably the toughest.
What is having Joey around all summer done for kind of the unity of that linebacking group? And I mean, when you missed the last couple summers, did it feel like you're missing a little somebody in that meeting room or at PRPs or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. You realize because you realize that Joe's gone the summers before, and then now I think that it more so just helps him because being at Mike, that's the quarterback of the defense pretty much. You're setting the fronts, you're making the calls. So I think it just helps him with his communication and also just being in better shape, being here through all these workouts because this was easily the toughest summer I've ever been through.
Why do you say it's been the toughest so far, I guess?
You know, we just did new stuff, and they ran us a lot. I mean, we ran a lot every off season, but it just seemed like you know we had an extra chip on our shoulder from last season.
You've been through a few of these fall camp beginnings now. Do you get the jitters, or is it kind of ho-hum for you?
You know, I'm not usually the type of guy to get too nervous, so I love playing football, so I'm always excited to just be able to strap it up.
So when you did the actual nickel 2 years ago, you went to the meeting rooms for like the defensive backs, right?
No, I stayed in the linebacker
Oh, you
meetings
never
actually.
went into meeting rooms for?
No.
Okay.
I mean, we would sometimes go over to the meeting rooms just to get maybe like a certain coverage we're putting in for the week or something like that. But for the most part, I stayed in the linebacker room.
Any of the new guys stand out to you on defense during the PRPs?
You know, I try not to really judge people until we get into camp and put pads on, and and it's real football. So I'll have an answer for you in a couple weeks.
Where do you want to be better this year?
You know, I really took it upon myself to be a better teammate first and foremost, and not look too far ahead, not look behind of what I've accomplished before, and just live in the now and just become the best all-around player I could be, I guess you could say.
A lot of the success of linebackers depends on how good their defensive line is. You lost a lot of guys, but you've got some guys coming back who've played football for you before. Talk about those group of guys and what you expect out of them this season.
You know, I expect nothing less than what the seniors left because they learned from them, watched all their film, know how to work. Know those guys that left. You know, you got a couple Kamale NFL guy. I think Jabril he's got some big shoes to fill, but I think that he's more than capable to fill those. The inside guys, you know, it's not like we don't have any experience there. They've all played. Sam Mack, you could trust Sam Mack. So yeah, I don't think it's as bad as people think that it is.
How much were you limited last year with the ankle or whatever you were dealing with? It
Yeah.
seemed like there was, we saw you at times in the boot and stuff. It seemed like you were playing through some stuff.
Yeah. Can I say what injury I had? Well, I had an ankle sprain that just kind of lingered and got worse throughout the season, but it was tough playing with that, and then had to sit out a couple games for the injury. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I feel like it held me back a little bit, but it is what it is, and I feel better than ever now.
Is that a good chunk of the season you're dealing with that, or
Yeah, I think I got hurt the Virginia game, so pretty early on.
just didn't have time to get it healed all the way, I guess?
Yeah, no, it never really healed up 100% for me.
You also said you're comfortable playing different spots, but there were times where they did have to kind of shift you into the middle a bit, and also at that nickel spot.
Yeah.
You obviously like that, but I mean, was it a little tougher, and you having to switch around, or did that not make a difference?
No, it does. It comes pretty easy to me to be able to move around and stuff. Just I've played football my whole life, so moving outside and inside for me, it's not too much of a difference. You just got to know all the different calls because you might be running a coverage at Mike, but the same defense you're running a different type of coverage at Sam. So it's just really knowing all the components.
There are new rules that came out with coaches and Twitter. When you were in high school being recruited, did you feel like schools had, more than enough access to you, too little access to you? I mean,
I've never been too big of a social media guy. So in high school, I don't even think I had a Twitter. But I remember, so I got some offers from like Facebook, where they would tell me to call them, gave me their number. So, there's a little bit, but I don't think it was as big as it is today.
Did you end up having any kind of procedure done, or you just had to let it heal after the season?
Yeah, I had a little procedure back in January.
That's good. Thanks, Tanner.
Yep.